The rain hammered against the metal roof of Morrison Custom Bikes like thousands of tiny fists demanding entry. Jake Morrison wiped his oil-stained hands on a red shop rag, his weathered face illuminated by the fluorescent lights hanging above the workbench. At 45, his hands told the story of 3 decades working with steel, chrome, and dreams. Every scar, every callus was a chapter in a life lived on 2 wheels. The custom Harley-Davidson Softail on his lift was almost finished. Jake had spent 6 months building it from the ground up for a client in Seattle. Extended forks, blacked-out engine, custom leather seat with hand-tooled designs. It was the kind of work that had made his shop legendary among riders in the Pacific Northwest. But tonight, staring at the bike, he felt nothing but the hollow ache that had been growing in his chest for months. "You planning on sleeping here again?" The voice belonged to Derek Patterson, Jake's business partner and road brother for the past 15 years. Derek leaned against the doorframe of the shop office, arms crossed over his chest. At 52, Derek was the oldest member of the Iron Wolves Motorcycle Club, a brotherhood that had defined Jake's adult life. "Just finishing up," Jake replied, not looking up from the carburetor he was adjusting. "Brother, that's what you said 3 hours ago." Derek walked closer, his boots heavy on the concrete floor. "Amanda called the clubhouse looking for you." Again. Jake's jaw tightened. He set down his wrench with more force than necessary. "I'll call her back." "When? Tomorrow? Next week?" Derek's tone wasn't judgmental, it was concerned. "Jake, I've known you since you were a prospect wearing a bottom rocker on your vest. I've ridden through hell and back with you, and I'm telling you, brother to brother, you're making a mistake." The shop fell silent, except for the rain and the distant rumble of traffic on Southeast Division Street. Portland's industrial district was quiet on Thursday nights, most shops closed, most workers home with their families. Jake pulled off his work gloves and finally met Derek's eyes. "It's our 20th anniversary in 2 weeks, Jake said quietly. "I know. That's why I'm here. I don't know what to do, Derek. I look at Amanda, and I see this woman who deserves so much more than I've given her. She used to ride with me every weekend, remember? Back when we first started the club, she was at every rally, every ride. She knew all the brothers, all the old ladies. She was part of it." Jake's voice cracked slightly. "Now, she won't even come to the clubhouse." Derek pulled up a metal stool and sat down. "Brother, you want to know what I see? I see a man who's been running from something he's afraid of. You work 80 hours a week, you take every long-distance ride the club plans, you volunteer for every charity run, you're everywhere except home. That's not fair, isn't it?" Derek leaned forward. "Listen, Jake, the brotherhood is sacred. We both know that. But it's not supposed to replace your family. It's supposed to support it. When did you start treating the club like a hiding place?" The question hit Jake like a fist to the gut. He turned away, staring at the wall covered with photographs. Decades of rides, rallies, brothers who'd passed on. There was a faded picture from South Dakota 20 years ago. Jake and Amanda, both in their mid-20s, standing in front of Pappy Hole's original rally grounds. Amanda's arms were wrapped around Jake's waist, her smile bright and genuine. Jake remembered that moment. It was 3 days before their wedding. "I met her at," Jake said softly. "Did I ever tell you the full story?" "Pieces of it. She wasn't part of any club. She was just this wild, free-spirited woman who rode a beat-up Yamaha all the way from California by herself. I saw her at the Buffalo Chip campground, trying to fix a blown tire. I helped her, and we ended up talking until sunrise. She told me she'd never felt more alive than on the road." Jake smiled at the memory. "I asked her to marry me 2 months later. So what happened? Life happened, the club grew, the shop took off. We had responsibilities, bills, a mortgage. She got a job at the hospital. She's a surgical nurse now, works insane hours. Somewhere along the way, We stopped being Jake and Amanda who met at... We became two people living in the same house, passing each other in the hallway. Derek stood up and put a hand on Jake's shoulder. Brother, I'm going to tell you something, and you need to hear it. The club's church meeting is Sunday. 20 brothers are going to be there. And I think you should use that meeting to ask for their help. Help with what? With making the 20th anniversary something Amanda will never forget. Something that reminds her why she fell in love with a biker in the first place. Jake looked at his road brother, hope flickering in his eyes for the first time in months. You think the brothers would do that? Jake, you've been there for every single one of us when we needed you. When my old lady left me, you sat with me for 3 days straight. When Tommy Graves got hit by that drunk driver, you organized the fundraiser that paid his medical bills. The brotherhood works both ways, brother. It's time you let us be there for you. The rain had stopped by the time Jake pulled his bike into the driveway of the modest craftsman-style house in southeast Portland. It was nearly midnight. The porch light was on. Amanda always left it on for him, no matter how late he came home. That small gesture of care, that tiny beacon of warmth, made his chest tighten with guilt. He killed the engine and sat in the darkness for a moment, listening to the tick of cooling metal. The house was dark except for the living room window. She was still awake. Jake walked up the wooden porch steps, his boots creaking on the old boards. He opened the door as quietly as possible, but Amanda was sitting on the couch, a book in her lap, still wearing her scrubs from the hospital. "Hey," he said softly. She looked up, her green eyes tired. At 43, Amanda Morrison was still beautiful, her auburn hair pulled back in a ponytail, her face showing the gentle lines of a life well lived. But there was a distance in her expression that broke Jake's heart. "Hey," she replied. "Long day?" "Yeah, sorry, I should have called." "Yes, you should have." There was no anger in her voice, just resignation. "I made dinner. It's in the fridge if you're hungry." "Thanks." Jake stood awkwardly in his own living room, feeling like a stranger. "How was your shift?" "Busy. 3 emergency surgeries, a motorcycle accident victim." She closed her book. 24 years old. He wasn't wearing a helmet. His girlfriend was riding with him. She didn't make it. The words hung in the air between them. It wasn't accusation, but Jake felt it anyway. The reminder of the risks he took, the life he lived. "Amanda, I'm not trying to start a fight, Jake. I'm just tired." She stood up, hugging the book to her chest like a shield. "I'm going to bed. There's clean towels in the bathroom if you want to shower." "Wait!" Jake stepped forward. "Can we talk, just for a minute?" She paused, her hand on the banister of the stairs. "About what?" "About us. About everything." He struggled to find the right words. I know things haven't been good, but I want to try. I want to fix this." Amanda's expression softened slightly, but the sadness remained. "Jake, we've had this conversation before. You say you want to change, and then nothing changes. You're still at the shop until midnight. You're still gone every weekend with the club. I'm not asking you to give up the brotherhood. I know that's who you are, but I'm not a part of your life anymore. I'm just the person who keeps the porch light on." That's not true, isn't it? When was the last time we had dinner together? When was the last time we went anywhere that wasn't club-related? When was the last time you looked at me the way you used to? Her voice cracked. "I feel invisible, Jake, and I'm tired of feeling that way." She turned and walked upstairs, each step a hammer blow to Jake's heart. He stood in the empty living room, surrounded by the ghosts of happier times. Photos on the walls showed the couple they used to be, young, in love, facing the world together. Jake in his leather vest with the iron wolves patch. Amanda beside him, always smiling. He walked to the mantel and picked up their wedding photo. They'd gotten married in Cannon Beach, a small coastal town 90 minutes west of Portland. It was Amanda's favorite place on earth. She loved the sound of the waves, the smell of salt air, the sight of Haystack Rock rising from the sand like a monument to nature's power. They'd said their vows at sunset, with 20 of their closest friends and fellow riders as witnesses. "I promised to give you the world," Jake whispered to the photograph. "And I gave you nothing but excuses." He set the photo down and pulled out his phone. He opened the calendar app and stared at the date circled in red. Saturday, May 17th, their 20th anniversary. 2 weeks away. Derek's words echoed in his mind. "Let us be there for you." Jake opened his contacts and found the group chat for the Iron Wolves leadership, the president, vice president, road captain, and sergeant-at-arms. He typed a message. "Need to talk to everyone at church on Sunday. It's important. Jake." The response came within seconds from Tommy Graves, the club president. "You got it, brother. Whatever you need." Jake looked up at the ceiling, toward the bedroom where Amanda was probably lying awake, as lonely as he was. He made a silent promise to himself and to her. This anniversary would be different. This time, he would show her that the biker she fell in love with at 20 years ago was still inside him. This time, he wouldn't fail her. Sunday morning arrived with clear skies and the kind of crisp Oregon air that made riders itch to hit the road. Jake woke early, showered, and put on his cleanest jeans and his Iron Wolves vest, a sleeveless leather jacket adorned with patches that told the story of his years in the club. The center back patch displayed a snarling wolf's head surrounded by the words, "Iron Wolves MC Portland, Oregon." On the front, his road name was stitched in silver thread, Wrench. Below that, a patch reading, "Original Member." Amanda was already gone when he came downstairs. Her shift at Providence Portland Medical Center started at 6 a.m. on Sundays. A note on the kitchen counter read, "Working late tonight. Leftover Chinese food in the fridge." Jake poured himself coffee and sat at the kitchen table, rehearsing in his mind what he would say to the brothers. The Iron Wolves weren't the biggest motorcycle club in Portland, but they were one of the most respected. 23 members strong, they were known for their charity work, their loyalty to each other, and their strict code of conduct. No drugs, no criminal activity, just brotherhood, bikes, and the open road. The clubhouse was located in a renovated warehouse off Southeast 82nd Avenue. Jake had helped buy the property 12 years ago when the club officially incorporated. It wasn't much to look at from the outside. Grey concrete walls, small windows, a parking lot with spaces for bikes only. But inside, it was home. A long bar stretched along one wall, adorned with beer taps and liquor bottles. Pool tables dominated the center of the room. The walls were covered with photographs, club banners, and memorabilia from 2 decades of rides and rallies. When Jake arrived at 9:30, several bikes were already parked outside. He recognized them all: Derek's Custom Road King, Tommy's Dyna Lowrider, Vincent Chen's blacked-out Sportster. These men were more than friends. They were brothers in every sense that mattered. Inside, the clubhouse smelled of coffee and motor oil. Tommy Graves stood behind the bar, his massive frame barely contained by his vest. At 55, Tommy was a former Marine who'd served 2 tours in Iraq before coming home and finding solace in the brotherhood. He'd been club president for 8 years, respected by every member for his fairness and wisdom. "Morning, Wrench," Tommy called out. "Coffee? Please." Vincent Chen walked over, extending his hand. Vincent was the club's road captain, responsible for planning routes and leading rides. At 38, he was one of the younger members, but had earned his position through skill and dedication. "Derek said you needed to talk to us. Everything okay, brother?" "Yeah, Jake accepted the coffee from Tommy. "I need the Brotherhood's help with something." "Say no more. Let's head to church." The church was what the club called their meeting room, a private space in the back of the clubhouse where only patched members were allowed. A long wooden table dominated the room, surrounded by mismatched chairs. At the head of the table sat Tommy's spot, marked by a gavel. To his right sat Derek, the vice president. Vincent and Nathan Cross, the sergeant-at-arms, took their positions. The other members filed in over the next 15 minutes. There was Raymond Clutch Foster, a 60-year-old mechanic who'd been riding since the 60s. Michael Quinn, a high school history teacher. Carlos Mendoza, who owned a successful construction company. Each man brought his own story, his own reason for joining the Brotherhood, but they were united by mutual respect and loyalty. When everyone was seated, Tommy banged the gavel 3 times. Church is in session, all phones off, all ears open. Wrench has something he needs to bring to the Brotherhood. 22 pairs of eyes turned to Jake. He felt the weight of their attention, their concern. These men had been with him through divorces, deaths, accidents, and celebrations. They'd helped him build his business, supported him through hard times, and celebrated his successes. Now, it was his turn to be vulnerable. "Brothers," Jake began, his voice steady despite his nerves. "Most of you know Amanda. You've known her for years. She's been to rallies with us, cookouts, charity runs. She's been part of this family." He paused. "But somewhere along the way, I lost sight of what matters. I let work consume me. I let the club become an excuse to avoid dealing with problems at home. And now, on our 20th anniversary, I'm looking at a woman who barely recognizes me anymore." The room was silent. Several men nodded in understanding. They'd been through similar struggles. "I want to do something for our anniversary that reminds Amanda why she fell in love with me. Something that shows her she's not just an afterthought. And I can't do it alone." Jake looked around the table. "I'm asking the Brotherhood for help. Not money, not anything like that. Just your time, your creativity, your support." Tommy leaned forward. "What do you have in mind, brother?" "Amanda and I got married in Cannon Beach. It's always been her favorite place. I want to organize a ride down Highway 101 to Cannon Beach on our anniversary. But I want it to be more than just a ride. I want to collect stories, video messages from people whose lives Amanda has touched. Her co-workers, her friends, people from the community. I want to show her that she matters, that she's made a difference, and I want the Brotherhood there to witness it." Derek spoke up. "Brother, that's beautiful, but it's going to take a lot of coordination. 2 weeks isn't much time." "I know. That's why I need help." Vincent pulled out a small notebook. "Okay, let's break this down. Highway 101 from Portland to Cannon Beach is about 90 miles, mostly scenic coastal route. Beautiful ride, especially this time of year. We could make it a 1-day trip, leave early morning, arrive by afternoon, but if we're collecting video messages, we need someone to handle that technical side." Michael Quinn raised his hand. "My daughter's a film student at Portland State. She's got all the equipment, cameras, editing software, the works. I'll bet she'd help out." "Perfect," Jake said gratefully. Carlos Mendoza spoke next. "My wife knows Amanda from the hospital auxiliary volunteer program. She could reach out to Amanda's co-workers, get them to record messages without Amanda finding out." "I can handle logistics," Nathan Cross added. "Who's riding, what the route looks like, where we're stopping. I'll make sure everything runs smooth." Raymond Foster, the oldest member, cleared his throat. "Jake, I've been married for 40 years. You want to know the secret? It's not the grand gestures, though those help. It's showing up every day and proving that you're worth keeping around. This ride is a good start, but you've got to follow through after. You understand that, brother?" "I do," Jake said sincerely. Tommy banged the gavel. "All in favor of the Iron Wolves supporting Brother Wrench in this mission, say aye." A chorus of aye filled the room. Motion carried. Tommy stood and walked around the table to Jake, extending his hand. "You've got the full backing of this club, brother. We'll make this anniversary one for the history books." The meeting dissolved into excited planning. Vincent spread a map of the Oregon coast on the table, tracing the route from Portland to Cannon Beach. Michael called his daughter, who immediately agreed to help with the videos. Carlos started making a list of people to contact at the hospital. Derek pulled Jake aside, a proud smile on his weathered face. "This is what brotherhood means, Jake. We carry each other, always. I don't know how to thank you all." "You don't have to. That's not how this works." Derek clapped him on the shoulder. "Now let's get to work. We've got 2 weeks to pull off a miracle." The next 10 days were a whirlwind of activity. Jake threw himself into the planning with an intensity he hadn't felt in years. Every spare moment not spent at the shop was dedicated to making the anniversary perfect. Michael Quinn's daughter, Stephanie, turned out to be a godsend. The 22-year-old film student met Jake at a coffee shop in Northeast Portland and listened intently as he explained his vision. "I want the video to feel personal," Jake said. "Not slick or professional, just real. I want Amanda to see herself through other people's eyes, to understand how much she means to everyone around her." Stephanie nodded, her dark hair pulled back in a practical bun. "I get it. Authenticity is more powerful than production value. We'll keep it simple, just people speaking from the heart. I'll edit it together with some music, maybe some shots of you and Amanda from over the years if you have photos." "I have boxes of photos," Jake said. "And some old video footage from rallies and trips." "Perfect. Let's start with a list of people we need to contact." Over the next week, Stephanie worked with Carlos's wife, Patricia, to discreetly reach out to Amanda's world. There was Dr. Helen Kensington, the surgeon Amanda assisted most frequently, a brilliant but demanding woman who rarely gave compliments. There was Grace Yamamoto, Amanda's closest friend since nursing school. There were patients Amanda had cared for, neighbors she'd helped, the owner of the bookstore she frequented. Each person was given the same prompt: tell Amanda what she means to you. Share a memory, a moment that stuck with you. Be honest. The responses started coming in, and Jake watched them with tears in his eyes. Dr. Kensington talked about Amanda's steady hands and calm presence during a 19-hour surgery that saved a child's life. Grace shared a story about Amanda driving 3 hours in a snowstorm to be with her when her mother died. A woman named Mrs. Barbara Fletcher, an elderly patient, described how Amanda had sat with her every day for a week when she had no family to visit. "She made me feel like I mattered," Mrs. Fletcher said in her video, her voice trembling. "She made me feel like someone in this world cared whether I lived or died." Jake had never known these stories. Amanda never talked about her work, never sought recognition or praise. She just did the work quietly, compassionately, day after day. Stephanie compiled the videos into a 20-minute piece, interspersed with photos of Jake and Amanda through the years. The final shot was recent footage Stephanie had secretly captured of Amanda leaving the hospital after a shift, looking exhausted, but managing a smile for a patient's child, waving at her from a window. "This is perfect," Jake said, his voice thick with emotion. "This is exactly what I wanted." "Now you just need to get her to Cannon Beach without her suspecting anything," Stephanie said with a grin. That proved to be the trickiest part. Amanda had mentioned weeks ago that she'd requested their anniversary Saturday off from work, but she'd made no other plans. Jake had to create a reason for them to go to Cannon Beach without revealing the surprise. On Wednesday evening, 5 days before the anniversary, Jake came home early for the first time in months. Amanda was in the kitchen, chopping vegetables for a salad, still in her scrubs. She looked up in surprise when he walked in. "You're home," she said, stating the obvious. "I know. I wanted to talk to you about Saturday." Amanda's expression became guarded. "Okay. I know things have been difficult between us, and I know that's mostly my fault. But I want to do something for our anniversary, something special." Jake took a breath. "I want us to go to Cannon Beach, just you and me, like old times." Amanda set down her knife, studying his face. "Jake, we haven't been to Cannon Beach together in almost 5 years. "I know. That's why I want to go. Please, Amanda, give me this chance." She was quiet for a long moment, and Jake could see the war playing out behind her eyes. Hope battling against years of disappointment. Finally, she nodded. Okay, but Jake, if this is just another empty promise, if you cancel at the last minute or spend the whole time on your phone dealing with shop business, I won't, I promise. It's just you and me. That night, they ate dinner together at the kitchen table for the first time in months. They didn't talk much, but it was a start. And when Amanda smiled at something Jake said, a small, genuine smile, he felt a flicker of hope that maybe, just maybe, he could repair what he'd broken. At the clubhouse, the final preparations were underway. All 23 members of the Iron Wolves would participate in the ride. Vincent had mapped out the exact route: Highway 26 west to the coast, then south on Highway 101, with a planned stop at Ecola State Park before continuing to Cannon Beach. Nathan had secured permission from the city of Cannon Beach to use a beachfront area for the gathering. Derek had contacted old friends from other clubs along the route, inviting them to join the ride in solidarity. "This is bigger than I expected," Jake said, looking at the growing list of participants. "Word travels fast in the riding community," Tommy explained. "When brothers hear that one of their own is trying to save his marriage, they want to help. That's what we do." The night before the anniversary, Jake barely slept. He lay awake next to Amanda, listening to her breathe, hoping that tomorrow would change everything. At 4 a.m., he gave up on sleep and went downstairs. He made coffee and sat at the kitchen table, watching the sky slowly lighten through the window. His phone buzzed with a text from Derek. "Brothers are ready. Today's the day. Don't fuck it up." Jake smiled despite his nerves. He typed back, "I won't. Thanks, brother." At 6 a.m., Amanda came downstairs, already dressed in jeans and a comfortable sweater. "I didn't think you'd actually be up," she said. "I told you this was important." Jake stood. "You ready?" "As ready as I'll ever be." They walked out to Jake's truck. Amanda paused when she saw it. "We're not taking your bike. I thought you might be more comfortable in the truck." It was a small lie. The real reason was that Jake needed Amanda to arrive at Cannon Beach at a specific time, and riding together would make that easier. But Amanda seemed touched by the consideration. As they drove west on Highway 26, the sun rose behind them, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. Amanda stared out the window, and Jake stole glances at her profile, remembering the young woman he'd met at. She was still there, beneath the layers of hurt and disappointment. He could still save this. "Jake," Amanda said suddenly, "why are you really doing this?" "What do you mean?" "I mean, what changed? 2 weeks ago, you couldn't be bothered to come home for dinner. Now you're taking me on a romantic trip to the coast. What happened?" Jake gripped the steering wheel. "I realized I was losing you, and I realized that if I lost you, I'd lose the best part of myself." Amanda turned to look at him fully. "That's a nice thing to say. But I need more than nice words, Jake. I need action. I need proof that things will be different. I know, and I'm going to give you that proof, starting today." They drove in silence for a while, passing through the lush forests of the Coast Range. The road wound through towering Douglas firs and red cedars, the air fresh and clean. When they finally crested the hill and saw the Pacific Ocean spread out before them, Amanda gasped. "I forgot how beautiful it is," she whispered. "Yeah," Jake agreed, but he wasn't looking at the ocean. He was looking at his wife and thinking about the surprise waiting for them in Cannon Beach. "Please let this work," he prayed silently. "Please let this be enough." The Iron Wolves Motorcycle Club began assembling at sunrise in the parking lot of Morrison Custom Bikes. One by one, the brothers arrived, their bikes gleaming in the early morning light. The rumble of engines created a symphony of power and freedom that echoed off the surrounding buildings. 23 riders, 23 bikes, each one a reflection of its owner's personality and style. Derek Patterson was the first to arrive. His Road King polished to perfection, he killed the engine and walked over to where Tommy Graves was checking the route map one final time. "Everyone confirmed?" Derek asked. "All 23 brothers accounted for," Tommy replied. "Plus, we've got 5 riders from the Cascade Riders joining us at Sunset Summit and another 8 from the Coast Guard MC meeting us in Tillamook. This is going to be one hell of a ride." Vincent Chen pulled up on his Sportster, followed closely by Nathan Cross on a custom Dyna. The sergeant-at-arms was wearing his full colors, his vest adorned with patches from 2 decades of rides and rallies. "Security is set," Nathan reported. "I've got brothers positioned along the route to make sure we don't get separated by traffic. The Cannon Beach police chief is a rider. I spoke with him yesterday. He's giving us a pass on the noise ordinance." Michael Quinn arrived with his daughter Stephanie, who drove a small Honda packed with camera equipment. "The video is ready," Stephanie announced. "It's loaded on my laptop. We've got a projector, speakers, everything we need. This is going to be amazing." Carlos Mendoza and his wife Patricia pulled up in their truck, the bed loaded with food, drinks, and supplies for the gathering. "Amanda's co-workers are all set," Patricia reported. "Dr. Kensington is actually planning to drive down from Portland to be there. She said, and I quote, 'Amanda Morrison is the best surgical nurse I've ever worked with, and I'll be damned if I miss this.'" Derek laughed. High praise from the Ice Queen. As the sun climbed higher, the rest of the brothers arrived. Raymond Clutch Foster, Michael Davidson, Benny Torres, each man checking his bike, adjusting his vest, preparing for the ride. The atmosphere was electric with anticipation and purpose. Tommy gathered everyone in a circle. "Brothers, today we ride for one of our own. Jake Morrison has been part of this club since the beginning. He's been there for every single one of us when we needed him. Today, we're there for him. This isn't just a ride, it's a mission. We're riding to help a brother save his marriage, to remind a good woman why she fell in love with one of us. We ride with honor. We ride with purpose. We ride as family." "Iron Wolves," the brothers shouted in unison, their voices carrying across the parking lot. Derek checked his watch. "Jake and Amanda should be passing Timber Junction right about now. That gives us 90 minutes to reach Cannon Beach ahead of them. Mount up, brothers." The sound of 23 motorcycles starting simultaneously was like thunder. Chrome pipes gleamed, leather creaked, and with Vincent in the lead position as road captain, the Iron Wolves rolled out of the parking lot in a tight formation, heading west toward the coast and the Pacific Ocean beyond. Jake and Amanda were indeed passing through Timber Junction, a small mountain community about 40 miles from the coast. Amanda had been quiet for most of the drive, lost in her own thoughts. But as they wound through the mountains, some of the tension seemed to leave her shoulders. "Remember when we used to do this all the time?" Amanda said suddenly. "Just get on your bike and ride. No destination, no plan, just us and the road." "I remember," Jake said. "You used to make me stop at every scenic viewpoint. Because you always wanted to just blow past them. You were always in such a hurry to get somewhere." Amanda smiled at the memory. "I had to teach you to slow down, to appreciate where you were, not just where you were going." "You did teach me that. I forgot somewhere along the way." Amanda reached over and put her hand on his. It was the first voluntary physical contact they'd had in weeks. Jake felt his throat tighten with emotion. "Let's try not to forget again," Amanda said softly. They drove on, descending from the mountains toward the coast. The landscape changed from dense forest to rolling hills dotted with dairy farms and small towns. When they finally reached Highway 101 and turned south, the ocean came into view, vast, blue, eternal. "There it is," Amanda breathed. "God, I missed this." "Me too." They passed through small coastal communities, Seaside with its tourist shops and arcade, Cannon Beach's northern outskirts with their art galleries and bed and breakfasts. Jake kept checking his phone discreetly. A text from Derek read, "In position. Waiting for you. You okay?" Amanda asked, noticing his distraction. Yeah, just checking the time. I actually made a reservation for lunch at that place you used to love, the Wayfarer. Amanda's eyes widened. Jake, that place has been closed for years. Oh, well, we'll find somewhere else then. It was a clumsy lie, but Amanda didn't press. They drove into the main part of Cannon Beach, the iconic Haystack Rock visible in the distance, rising 235 feet from the sand like a sentinel guarding the shore. The streets were moderately busy for a Saturday morning, tourists browsing shops, families heading to the beach, the normal rhythm of a coastal town in spring. Jake followed Vincent's texted directions to a parking area near the north end of the beach, away from the main tourist strip. I thought we could walk on the beach first, Jake suggested, before lunch. Sure, Amanda agreed, though she looked puzzled by the location. They got out of the truck, and Jake led her down a wooden boardwalk toward the sand. The sound of waves filled the air, mixing with the cries of seagulls overhead. The sand was cool and firm, the tide currently low. Amanda took off her shoes, letting her feet sink into the sand with a contented sigh. This is nice, she said. Thank you for bringing me here, Jake, really. Wait, Jake said. There's something I want to show you. He guided her around a rocky outcropping, and suddenly the beach opened up before them, and Amanda stopped dead in her tracks. Spread across the sand were 23 motorcycles arranged in a perfect semicircle, their chrome glinting in the sunlight. Standing beside each bike was an Iron Wolves member in full colors, and surrounding them were dozens more people, Amanda's co-workers from the hospital, including Dr. Helen Kensington in jeans and a jacket Jake had never seen her wear. Grace Yamamoto with her husband and children, Mrs. Barbara Fletcher in a wheelchair pushed by her daughter, neighbors, friends, people Amanda had touched throughout her life. A large screen had been set up on a portable frame, and speakers flanked it on either side. Stephanie Quinn stood behind a small control station, giving Jake a thumbs up. Jake, Amanda's voice was barely a whisper. What is this? This is 20 years, Jake said, his own voice shaking. This is everyone whose life you've touched, everyone who wanted to be here to tell you how much you matter. This is me trying to show you that I see you, Amanda. I see what you do, who you are, and how much the world needs you. I'm sorry it took me so long. Tears were streaming down Amanda's face. Grace ran forward and hugged her friend tightly. Surprise, Grace said, laughing and crying at the same time. We've been planning this for 2 weeks. You have no idea how hard it was to keep quiet. Dr. Kensington approached more formally, but with genuine warmth. Amanda, you're the most dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. I wouldn't have missed this for anything. Derek Patterson walked over and extended his hand to Amanda. Mrs. Morrison, on behalf of the Iron Wolves Motorcycle Club, we want you to know that you've always been part of this family. Your husband is one of the best men we know, and that's largely because of you. Thank you for sharing him with us and for being patient with a bunch of stubborn bikers. Amanda laughed through her tears. You're all insane. This is insane. Yeah, but it's good insane, right? Derek grinned. Tommy Graves stepped forward, his commanding presence making everyone fall quiet. Amanda, we've prepared something special. If you'll have a seat, we'd like to show you what your husband and all these people have been working on. Chairs had been set up, facing the screen. Jake guided Amanda to the center seat and sat beside her, taking her hand. She squeezed his fingers so tightly, it almost hurt. Stephanie started the video. The screen came to life with a montage of photos. Jake and Amanda at young and wild and free. Their wedding day on this very beach. Subsequent years of rallies, rides, holidays, everyday moments captured and preserved. A soundtrack of acoustic guitar played softly in the background. Then, the testimonials began. Dr. Kensington's face filled the screen. Amanda Morrison is the kind of nurse who makes you remember why you became a doctor. She's skilled, she's compassionate, and she never gives up on a patient. During the Garcia surgery last year, a 19-hour procedure on a 6-year-old with a brain tumor, Amanda never left my side. When I was ready to call it, when I thought we'd lost him, she looked at me and said, "We keep fighting." And we did. And that boy went home to his family because Amanda Morrison wouldn't quit. Next came Grace Yamamoto. Amanda drove through a blizzard at 3 in the morning when my mother was dying. She sat with me in that hospital room, holding my hand, helping me say goodbye. That's who she is. She shows up, always. Patient after patient shared stories of Amanda's kindness. Mrs. Fletcher described how Amanda had brought her books from the library when she couldn't leave the hospital. A young man named Timothy Walsh talked about how Amanda had advocated for him when no one else would, helping him get into a treatment program that saved his life. Throughout the video, Amanda cried openly. Jake put his arm around her, his own tears falling freely. Around them, there wasn't a dry eye on the beach. Even Tommy Graves, the tough Marine, was wiping his face with his bandana. The video ended with Jake's own message, recorded the night before, with Stephanie's help. Amanda, I've spent the last 20 years taking you for granted. I let work and the club and everything else become more important than the woman who saved me. Because that's what you did. You saved me. Before you, I was just a guy who worked on bikes and rode on weekends. You taught me that life is about more than engines and chrome. You taught me about love, about sacrifice, about showing up every day even when it's hard. I'm sorry I forgot those lessons. I'm sorry I made you feel invisible, but I see you now. And I'm asking you, in front of all these people who love you, for another chance. Let me spend the next 20 years proving that I deserve you. The screen faded to black. For a moment, the only sound was the crash of waves and the cry of seagulls. Then the entire gathering erupted in applause. Amanda stood on shaky legs and threw her arms around Jake's neck. "You idiot," she sobbed. "You beautiful, stupid idiot. Of course I'll give you another chance. I love you. I never stopped loving you." Jake held his wife like he was drowning, and she was air. "I love you too, so much. I'm going to do better. I swear to God I'm going to be the husband you deserve." They stood there, wrapped in each other, while the crowd cheered and the Iron Wolves revved their engines in celebration. Derek started a chant. "Morrison, Morrison, Morrison." Soon everyone had joined in. When Jake and Amanda finally separated, both laughing and crying, Tommy Graves held up his hands for quiet. "We've got one more surprise. Amanda, every brother here wanted to give you something to mark this day. We took up a collection, and we'd like to present you with this." Vincent wheeled forward a custom-built motorcycle, a beautiful Harley-Davidson Sportster painted in deep purple with silver accents. The seat was specially designed for comfort, and the handlebars were adjusted for a rider of Amanda's height. On the gas tank, painted in elegant script, were the words, "Amanda's Freedom." "No way," Amanda whispered, walking toward the bike like it was a dream she was afraid to touch. "This is mine." "Built it myself," Jake said, "with help from Derek and a few of the brothers. I know you haven't ridden in years, but I thought maybe we could start riding together again, like we used to." Amanda ran her hands over the smooth metal, her face glowing with joy. "Can we go right now?" Jake laughed. "First we eat. Patricia made enough food to feed an army, then we ride." The gathering on the beach stretched into the afternoon. Long tables had been set up with food, grilled burgers and hot dogs, salads, chips, and Patricia Mendoza's famous 3-layer chocolate cake. Children played in the sand while adults talked and laughed. The Iron Wolves mixed easily with hospital staff and neighbors, the common thread of caring for Amanda binding them together. Dr. Kensington cornered Jake near the food table. "Mr. Morrison, I want you to know something. Your wife requested to move to part-time status last month. She said she needed to figure out whether her marriage was worth saving. I hope this display means you're going to give her a reason to keep that schedule. The words hit Jake like a punch to the gut. He hadn't known. Amanda had never mentioned it. She'll have every reason, he said quietly. I promise you that. Good, because if you hurt her again, you'll answer to me. And I'm much scarier than any motorcycle club. The doctor's expression was dead serious, but then she smiled slightly. But I don't think I'll have to worry about that. What you did today, that took real courage and humility. Not many men have that. Grace Yamamoto pulled Amanda aside, away from the crowd. So, Grace demanded, are you happy? Tell me you're happy. I'm terrified, Amanda admitted. Grace, I want to believe this changes everything. But what if it doesn't? What if we go back to Portland and nothing's different? Then you deal with that when it happens. But Amanda, I saw that video. I saw the way Jake looked at you during it. That man loves you. And more importantly, he understands that he screwed up. That's half the battle, getting them to recognize the problem. The rest is just work. And if there's one thing you're good at, it's work. Amanda hugged her friend. Thank you for being here, for being part of this. Are you kidding? This is the most romantic thing I've ever seen. Your husband got an entire motorcycle club to ride 90 miles to help him win you back. That's the stuff movies are made of. As the sun began its descent toward the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, the party began to wind down. Families with young children headed home. Hospital staff made the drive back to Portland, but the Iron Wolves remained, 23 brothers standing with their bikes, waiting. Tommy Graves approached Jake and Amanda. We'd like to ride back with you, all of us, if that's okay. Form an escort for the lady and her new bike. Amanda looked at Jake, then back at Tommy. I would be honored. Jake helped Amanda onto her new Sportster, showing her the controls, making sure she was comfortable. It had been almost 7 years since she'd ridden, but the moment her hands gripped the handlebars, something clicked. Her body remembered. Her spirit remembered. You ready? Jake asked, mounting his own bike beside her. I'm ready. Vincent, as road captain, took the lead position. Tommy and Derek flanked Jake and Amanda. The rest of the Iron Wolves formed a protective V formation around them. As one, 25 engines roared to life. They rode north on Highway 101 as the sun set over the Pacific. The highway hugged the coastline, offering stunning views of the ocean and the rugged cliffs. Amanda felt the wind in her face, the power of the machine beneath her, and the presence of her husband riding beside her. For the first time in years, she felt truly alive. The ride became almost meditative. The rhythm of the road, the solidarity of the formation, the setting sun, painting everything in gold. Other motorists pulled over to watch the procession pass, some taking photos, others simply observing with respect. This was what motorcycle culture was really about. Not rebellion or danger, but brotherhood, loyalty, and the shared experience of freedom on two wheels. When they reached the summit where Highway 101 turned inland toward Portland, the Cascade riders were waiting as promised. 5 riders who'd heard about the mission and wanted to be part of it. They fell into formation without a word, expanding the procession. In Tillamook, 8 Coast Guard MC members joined as well. By the time the group reached the outskirts of Portland, 38 motorcycles rode together, a river of chrome and leather and unity. They took the long way home, riding through the city streets of southeast Portland as night fell. As they passed Morrison Custom Bikes, Jake signaled for everyone to pull into the parking lot. The brothers shut down their engines and gathered in a circle. Tommy spoke for everyone. Brother Jake, Sister Amanda, today we rode for you. But more than that, we rode for what you represent. Love, commitment, the belief that it's never too late to make things right. On behalf of the Iron Wolves, we wish you 20 more years of happiness, and we promise to be here, supporting you both every mile of the way. Amanda, still astride her new bike, looked around at the faces surrounding her, these men who'd given up their Saturday to help a marriage they believed in. "Thank you," she said, her voice carrying in the quiet lot. "Thank you for reminding me what this community is about. Thank you for caring enough to do this, and thank you for taking care of my stubborn, workaholic, wonderful husband all these years." The brothers laughed and applauded. One by one, they started their bikes and headed home, until only Derek remained. "You did good today, brother," Derek said to Jake. "Real good. I couldn't have done it without you, without all of you." That's what brotherhood means. Derek looked at Amanda. "Welcome back, sister. We missed you." "I missed this too," Amanda admitted. "I didn't realize how much until today." Derek rode off into the night, and Jake and Amanda were alone in the parking lot of his shop. The place that had become both his sanctuary and his prison, the place where he'd hidden from his problems instead of facing them. "Come on," Jake said, "let's go home." They rode side by side through the quiet streets, their bikes' engines purring softly. When they pulled into their driveway, the porch light was on, that same light Amanda always left burning. But tonight, it felt different. It felt like hope. Inside, Jake made tea while Amanda changed out of her riding clothes. When she came back downstairs in sweatpants and one of Jake's old t-shirts, she looked younger, more relaxed than he'd seen her in years. "Today was perfect," Amanda said, curling up on the couch beside him. But Derek was right. The hard part comes next. We have to figure out how to make this last, how to keep the magic alive when we're not on a beach surrounded by everyone we know. "I know," Jake said, "and I have some ideas about that, starting with cutting back my hours at the shop. Hiring someone to help Derek manage things so I'm not there 80 hours a week. Really. And I talked to Tommy about adjusting the club's ride schedule. Maybe instead of me going on every single run, I could sit out some of them. Spend that time with you instead." Amanda's eyes filled with tears again. "Jake, I don't want you to give up the things you love. The shop, the club, those are part of who you are. You're part of who I am too, the best part. And I need to start acting like it." Jake took her hands in his. "I want to take you riding every weekend. I want to have dinner together every night I'm not at the shop. I want to plan a trip to this summer, just the two of us, like old times. I want to remember how to be Jake and Amanda, not just two people living in the same house." "I want that too," Amanda whispered. "So much." They sat together in the quiet house, holding each other, watching the moon rise through the window. The road ahead wouldn't be easy. Marriages weren't saved in a single day, no matter how perfect that day might be. But for the first time in years, they had something to build on. They had hope. They had each other, and they had 23 brothers and an entire community ready to support them. Outside, a motorcycle passed by on the street, its engine rumbling into the distance. Jake smiled. That sound used to represent escape. Now it represented something else entirely. It represented coming home. Monday morning arrived, with the gentle insistence of spring rain tapping against the bedroom window. Jake woke before his alarm, momentarily disoriented by the unfamiliar sensation of Amanda's arm draped across his chest. They'd fallen asleep talking, something they hadn't done in years. Her auburn hair was splayed across his shoulder, and her breathing was deep and even. He lay still, not wanting to disturb her, thinking about the events of Saturday. The ride, the gathering, the look on Amanda's face when she'd seen what he'd organized. It had been perfect, almost too perfect. Now came the real test, turning one extraordinary day into a sustainable pattern of change. Amanda stirred, her eyes opening slowly. "What time is it?" 6:15. You don't have to be at work until noon, right? "Yeah, the new schedule started today. Part-time, remember?" She propped herself up on one elbow, studying his face. "Are you really going to hire someone to help at the shop?" "I'm interviewing candidates this week. Derek's already got 3 people lined up." Jake Morrison, delegating responsibility. I never thought I'd see the day. There was teasing in her voice, but also caution, as if she was afraid to believe too fully. People change, Jake said simply. Or they try to, anyway. He made breakfast while Amanda showered. Scrambled eggs, toast, coffee the way she liked it with cream and 1 sugar. Small things, but deliberate. When she came down dressed in scrubs, her hair still damp, she paused in the doorway of the kitchen. "You cooked?" "Don't sound so shocked. I know how to cook." "You know how to grill burgers at club cookouts." "This is different." She sat at the table, and Jake set a plate in front of her. "Thank you." They ate together, an ordinary Monday morning that felt extraordinary precisely because it was ordinary. Jake told her about a custom bike project he was excited about. Amanda talked about a young patient who was finally being discharged after months in the ICU. They were tentative with each other, like people learning to walk after a long illness, but they were trying. After Amanda left for work, Jake stood in the empty kitchen, steeling himself. He pulled out his phone and called Derek. "Please tell me you're not bailing on those interviews," Derek answered. "I'm not bailing. I'm confirming." 9 o'clock, right? Right, 3 candidates, all experienced mechanics, all reliable. One of them's a woman, Lisa Brennan, former Army mechanic. If you hire her, we'll be the most progressive shop in Southeast Portland. If she's the best candidate, I'll hire her. That's how it should work. Jake grabbed his keys and jacket. "See you in 30 minutes. Morrison Custom Bikes had been Jake's dream since he was 23 years old. Starting with a single bay garage and a toolbox inherited from his father, he'd built it into one of the most respected custom motorcycle shops in Portland. But that success had come at a cost. His time, his health, and nearly his marriage. Derek was waiting when Jake arrived, along with 3 people sitting in the small waiting area. Jake recognized the type immediately. Riders who knew their way around an engine, people who understood that working on motorcycles wasn't just a job, it was a calling. The interviews took most of the morning. The first candidate was solid but uninspiring. The second had excellent credentials, but admitted he was really just looking for temporary work before moving to California. Then came Lisa Brennan. She was in her mid-30s, compact and muscular, with short dark hair and grease permanently embedded under her fingernails, the mark of a real mechanic. She'd spent 8 years as a heavy equipment mechanic in the Army, deployed twice to Afghanistan, and had been working at a dealership in Beaverton since her discharge. "Why do you want to leave the dealership?" Jake asked. "Because they treat bikes like products on an assembly line. In, out, next customer. I want to work somewhere that respects the craft. I saw your shop's work at the Portland Custom Show last year. That panhead bobber with the suicide clutch? That was art." Lisa leaned forward. "I'm not looking for easy work. I'm looking for work that matters." Jake and Derek exchanged glances. Derek nodded almost imperceptibly. "When can you start?" Jake asked. "Tomorrow, if you need me." "Tomorrow works." After Lisa left, Derek clapped Jake on the shoulder. "Good choice, brother. She's going to fit in perfectly here." "Yeah, and it means I can actually take Sundays off, maybe even leave by 6 a few nights a week. Look at you, becoming a responsible adult." Derek's tone was joking, but his eyes were serious. "How's Amanda doing, after Saturday?" "Good, I think. We're trying." Jake sat on the edge of the workbench. "Derek, what if I can't maintain this? What if I fall back into old patterns?" "Then we call you on your shit, like we always do. That's what brothers are for." Derek pulled up a stool. "You know what the difference is between a good marriage and a failed one? It's not the big gestures. It's showing up every single day and doing the work. You showed up on Saturday. Now you have to show up tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that. When did you become so wise? I've been married twice, divorced twice. I learned what doesn't work. You've still got a chance to figure out what does." The next few weeks fell into a new rhythm. Jake kept his promise about reducing his hours. With Lisa handling the overflow work, he was able to leave the shop by 6 most evenings. He and Amanda had dinner together 4 nights a week. On Sundays, they went riding, just the two of them, exploring the back roads of Oregon and Washington. Amanda slowly began attending Iron Wolves events again. At first, she was tentative, unsure of her place after years of absence. But the brothers and their partners welcomed her back without hesitation. Patricia Mendoza organized a women's ride, and Amanda found herself part of a group of 8 women who rode together twice a month. "I forgot how much I love this," Amanda told Jake one evening after returning from a ride to Silver Falls. "Not just the riding, but the community. These people are family." "They missed you," Jake said. "We all did." But not everything was smooth. Old habits died hard. Jake still found himself reflexively staying late at the shop, catching himself only when he glanced at the clock and realized it was after 7. Amanda still sometimes fell into the pattern of making plans that didn't include Jake, forgetting that he was trying to be more present. They had arguments, small ones, mostly about communication and expectations. 3 weeks after the anniversary, they had their first real fight. Jake had promised to attend a hospital fundraiser with Amanda, a formal event where she was being recognized for her 15 years of service. But the morning of the event, a major problem developed with a client's bike. The custom build was due to be picked up the next day, and the transmission was making a grinding noise that hadn't been there during testing. "I have to fix this," Jake told Amanda when he called her at noon. "The guy's flying in from Denver tomorrow to pick up the bike." "You promised, Jake." Amanda's voice was tight. "I told everyone you'd be there. I bought you a suit." "I know, and I'm sorry, but this is my business, Amanda. I can't just deliver a broken bike. And I can't just keep being the wife whose husband never shows up. This is exactly what always happens. One thing at work becomes more important than everything else. That's not fair. I've been showing up. I've been keeping every promise I made. Except this one." There was a long pause. "You know what? Don't worry about it. I'll go alone. I'm used to it." She hung up before Jake could respond. Jake stood in the shop, phone in hand, torn between responsibility to his client and his promise to his wife. Lisa looked up from the bike she was working on. "Go," she said. "What?" "Go to the event. I can figure out the transmission issue." "Lisa, you've only been here 3 weeks. I rebuilt helicopter turbines in a sandstorm in Kandahar. I think I can handle a Harley transmission." "Go. Be with your wife. That's why you hired me, remember? So you could have a life outside this shop." Jake looked at the bike, then at Lisa, then at his phone. Derek emerged from the office, having overheard the conversation. "Brother, if you stay here and miss that event, everything you did at Cannon Beach means nothing. Actions matter. Choose." Jake grabbed his keys. "Call me if you run into problems." "I won't," Lisa said confidently. Jake made it to the hospital fundraiser with 20 minutes to spare. He'd gone home, showered in record time, and struggled into the suit Amanda had bought him. When he arrived at the grand ballroom of the Portland Marriott downtown waterfront, the cocktail hour was in full swing. He scanned the crowd for Amanda and found her standing with Dr. Kensington and several other nurses, holding a glass of wine, her expression guarded. When she saw him, her eyes widened in genuine surprise. Jake walked over, ignoring the other conversations happening around them. "I'm sorry I'm late, and I'm sorry I almost didn't come. But I'm here, and I'm not leaving." Amanda stared at him for a long moment. Then, slowly, she smiled. "You're here. I'm here." Dr. Kensington cleared her throat. "Well, Mr. Morrison, you clean up reasonably well. Amanda, shall we find our table?" The evening was a revelation for Jake. He'd never really understood what Amanda's work life was like. Sitting at a table with her colleagues, listening to them talk about surgeries and patients and the daily challenges of healthcare, he saw a side of his wife he'd only glimpsed. She was respected, valued, essential. These people relied on her skill and judgment. Lives literally depended on her. When Amanda was called to the stage to receive her recognition, Jake stood and applauded louder than anyone else. She gave a brief speech, thanking her colleagues and talking about why she became a nurse, to make a difference in people's lives at their most vulnerable moments. "My husband is here tonight," Amanda said, and Jake felt every eye in the room turn toward him. "He's a motorcycle mechanic. People sometimes ask what a nurse and a biker have in common. The answer is everything. We both fix things that are broken. We both believe in second chances. And we both know that the most important work happens when nobody's watching, in the quiet moments of showing up and doing what needs to be done." The applause was thunderous. Jake felt his throat tighten with emotion. After the dinner, they walked along the waterfront park, the Willamette River flowing dark and quiet beside them. Portland's downtown skyline glittered with lights reflected in the water. "Thank you for coming," Amanda said, holding Jake's hand. "I know it was hard to leave the shop." "It was the easiest decision I've made in a long time," Jake replied. "Lisa's got it handled. And even if she didn't, even if that bike wasn't ready tomorrow, it wouldn't matter. Because you matter more. You've always mattered more. I just lost sight of that." "I lost sight of things too," Amanda admitted. "I got so used to you not being there that I stopped inviting you. I stopped including you in my life because it hurt less than being disappointed. That wasn't fair to you either." They stopped walking, facing each other in the glow of the streetlights. "We're both learning," Jake said. "We're both trying. That's got to count for something." "It counts for everything." Amanda kissed him, soft and lingering. "Take me home, biker." In early June, Jake and Amanda made good on Jake's promise to return to. They loaded their bikes onto a trailer and drove to South Dakota, planning to spend a week at the rally that had brought them together 20 years earlier. Had changed in 2 decades. The rally that once drew 50,000 riders now attracted 500,000. The small town was overwhelmed with bikes, leather, music, and commerce, but the spirit remained the same: freedom, brotherhood, and the shared love of the open road. Jake and Amanda rode through the Black Hills, retracing routes they'd taken as young lovers. They visited Mount Rushmore, rode through Needles Highway, stopped at roadside diners where they'd eaten 20 years before. Some places were the same. Others had closed or changed beyond recognition. But the landscape remained eternal. The rolling hills, the pine forests, the vast Dakota sky. One evening, they sat on the porch of their rental cabin outside Deadwood, watching the sunset paint the hills in shades of gold and purple. "I was so scared," Amanda said suddenly. "Of what?" "Of losing us. Of waking up one day and realizing we'd become strangers who happened to share a house. Of looking back at my life and wondering where all the joy went." She turned to face him. "I thought about leaving, Jake. I really did. I even looked at apartments." The confession hit Jake like a physical blow, even though part of him had suspected. "Why didn't you?" "Because I remembered this. The way you looked at me that first morning when we watched the sunrise from the buffalo chip. You said, 'I'm going to marry you,' just like that, after knowing me for 8 hours. And I said, 'Okay,' because it felt right, because I knew. I still know," Jake said. "I never stopped knowing. I just got lost along the way." "We both did. But we found our way back." They sat in comfortable silence, holding hands, listening to the distant rumble of motorcycles on the highway. This place had given them a beginning. Now it was giving them a renewal. August arrived with the full heat of an Oregon summer. Morrison Custom Bikes was thriving under the new arrangement. Lisa had proven to be not just competent but exceptional, and Derek had promoted her to lead mechanic. The shop had taken on 2 additional apprentices, young riders eager to learn the craft. Jake was keeping his promise. He worked reasonable hours, was home for dinner most nights, and spent his weekends with Amanda. They'd developed rituals: Saturday morning rides, Sunday farmers market visits, Wednesday date nights. Small things that accumulated over months rebuilt the foundation of their marriage. The Iron Wolves noticed the change. At the August church meeting, Tommy Graves addressed it directly. "Brother Jake has shown us all what it means to have priorities straight," Tommy said. "His shop's doing better than ever because he's learned to delegate. His marriage is solid because he's putting in the work, and he's still showing up for the brotherhood when we need him. That's balance. That's what we should all be striving for." After the meeting, Derek pulled Jake aside. "The brothers want to do something for your anniversary next year. Start planning now. Make it even bigger than last year." Jake laughed. "I don't think Amanda could handle bigger. Besides, next year doesn't need to be spectacular. It just needs to be real." "Look at you getting all philosophical. I learned from the best, old man." In September, Amanda surprised Jake by suggesting they open their home for the club's monthly cookout. It had been years since they'd hosted an Iron Wolves event. Jake worried it might be too much, but Amanda insisted. "This is part of our life," she said. "These people helped save our marriage. I want them to know they're welcome here." The cookout was a massive success. 23 brothers and their families filled the backyard of the Morrison home. Children played while adults talked and laughed. Derek manned the grill, producing an endless stream of burgers and hot dogs. Patricia organized the side dishes with military precision. Stephanie Quinn showed up with her new boyfriend, a journalism student she'd met while filming Jake's anniversary video. "You started this, you know," Stephanie told Jake, gesturing at her boyfriend. "He interviewed me about documentary filmmaking after he saw the video you posted. 6 months later, here we are." "Glad I could help," Jake said, amused. As evening fell and the children were called home, the remaining adults sat around a fire pit Jake had built in the backyard. Stories were shared: road trips, close calls, funny moments from rallies past. Amanda sat beside Jake, his arm around her shoulders, laughing at a story Raymond Foster was telling about a disastrous ride to California in the 1980s. "This is nice," Amanda whispered to Jake during a lull in the conversation. "Having everyone here, being part of this again." "You never stopped being part of it," Jake replied. "We just forgot for a while." Tommy stood holding up his beer. "I want to make a toast to Jake and Amanda Morrison, proof that love can survive anything if you're willing to fight for it. And to the brotherhood that supports that love. Iron Wolves forever. Iron Wolves," everyone chorused. October brought rain and shorter days. Amanda's schedule at the hospital increased slightly. She'd taken on a mentorship role, training new surgical nurses. Jake supported the change, recognizing that Amanda needed professional fulfillment, just as he did. They adjusted their routines accordingly, finding new pockets of time together. One rainy Thursday evening, Jake came home to find Amanda sitting at the kitchen table with photo albums spread out in front of her. "What are you doing?" he asked, hanging up his wet jacket. "Remembering," she said simply. "Look at this, our first rally. God, we were so young." Jake sat beside her, looking at the photos. They told the story of a couple growing together, early years filled with adventure and spontaneity, middle years marked by stability and routine, recent years showing the strain of neglect, and finally, new photos from their trip in June, showing two people who'd found their way back to each other. "I want to make an album for the anniversary video," Amanda said. "With these photos and new ones, something we can look at when we're old and grey, to remember the year we saved us." "We're already getting old and grey," Jake teased, touching his salt and pepper beard. "Speak for yourself." "I'm aging like fine wine." "Yes, you are." Jake kissed the top of her head. "Let's make that album together." They spent the evening sorting photos, laughing at hairstyles and fashion choices from decades past, marveling at how quickly time had passed. It was one of those unremarkable evenings that somehow felt perfect. Two people, comfortable in each other's presence, building something together. November brought the club's annual Thanksgiving charity ride. The Iron Wolves partnered with a local homeless shelter, collecting donations and delivering them on bikes. It was Amanda's first time participating in the event, and she threw herself into the planning with characteristic intensity. "We need more blankets," she told Jake 2 weeks before the ride. "And socks. Everyone forgets about socks, but they're essential for people living on the streets." Under Amanda's direction, the charity ride collected 3 times the usual donations. She organized a social media campaign, reached out to her hospital contacts, and even convinced Dr. Kensington to donate medical supplies. On the day of the ride, 23 Iron Wolves members plus 30 additional riders from allied clubs formed a convoy through Portland, stopping at the shelter to unload trucks full of supplies. Amanda stood beside Jake, watching volunteers unload boxes, and he saw tears in her eyes. "This is what it's about," she said. "Using what we have to help others. This is what I fell in love with. Not just you, but this. The idea that a bunch of bikers could make a real difference." "We couldn't have done it without you," Tommy said, overhearing. "Amanda, the brothers and I have been talking. We'd like to make you an honorary member of the Iron Wolves. You'd have your own patch, your own place at church meetings. What do you say?" Amanda looked shocked. I don't know what to say." "Say yes," Derek encouraged. "You've earned it, sister." "Then yes, absolutely yes." The brothers erupted in applause. That evening, at an impromptu ceremony at the clubhouse, Amanda received her vest, a women's cut leather jacket with the Iron Wolves patch on the back and Amanda, Original Old Lady, stitched on the front. Jake watched his wife accept the vest with pride and humility, and he felt his heart swell with love. This woman, this incredible, complicated, resilient woman, had given him another chance. She'd forgiven his failures and joined him in building something better. He silently vowed never to take that gift for granted again. December arrived with unseasonably clear weather. Jake and Amanda began planning Christmas, their first real celebration together in years. They invited both their families, several Iron Wolves members, and some of Amanda's co-workers. "Are you sure you want to host Christmas?" Jake asked as they decorated the house. "That's a lot of people." "I'm sure. I want our home to be full of life and love. I spent too many Christmases feeling lonely in a quiet house. Never again." Christmas Eve was chaotic and wonderful. The house overflowed with people, food, laughter, and music. Jake's mother pulled him aside at one point, her eyes misty with emotion. "I'm so proud of you," she said. "I watched you and Amanda struggle for years. I was afraid you'd lose her, but you fought for your marriage. You did the work. That takes courage, son. I just got lucky that she was willing to give me another chance. Luck had nothing to do with it. Love did, and commitment. Don't forget that." Later, as the party wound down and the last guest departed, Jake and Amanda stood on their front porch, watching snow begin to fall, a rare occurrence in Portland. The neighborhood was quiet and peaceful, houses decorated with lights, the world feeling gentle and new. "Best Christmas ever," Amanda said, leaning into Jake's embrace. "Best year ever," Jake corrected. "Even with all the hard parts?" "Especially with all the hard parts. They reminded us what we were fighting for." They stood together in the cold, watching snow dust the street and their motorcycles parked side by side in the driveway. 2 bikes, 2 people, 1 journey. New Year's Eve found the Iron Wolves gathered at the clubhouse for their annual party. As midnight approached, Tommy called for quiet. "Brothers, sisters, friends, we've had one hell of a year. We've ridden thousands of miles together, we've supported each other through challenges, and we've witnessed something beautiful, 2 people remembering why they fell in love." He raised his glass toward Jake and Amanda. "Here's to second chances. Here's to never giving up. Here's to the road ahead, whatever it may bring. Iron Wolves forever. Iron Wolves forever, the crowd shouted back. As the countdown to midnight began, Jake took Amanda's hand and led her outside, away from the noise and celebration. Under a clear January sky, brilliant with stars, they stood alone in the parking lot. 10, 9, 8. The crowd inside counted down. "Thank you," Jake said to Amanda, "for not giving up on me, on us. 7, 6, 5. "Thank you for giving me a reason not to," Amanda replied. 4, 3, 2. "I love you, Amanda Morrison. Today, tomorrow, forever." 1. "I love you too, Jake Morrison. Forever." They kissed as fireworks exploded somewhere in the distance, painting the sky with color. Inside, the celebration erupted in cheers and noise. But outside, in the quiet between moments, two people held each other and made silent promises for the year ahead and all the years to follow. 3 months later, on a sunny Saturday in March, Jake and Amanda rode their motorcycles north on Highway 101, retracing the route the Iron Wolves had taken a year earlier. But this time, it was just the two of them. No brothers, no crowd, no grand gesture. Just a husband and wife riding side by side, remembering and celebrating. They stopped at Cannon Beach and walked on the sand near Haystack Rock. The tide was low, revealing tide pools teeming with sea stars and anemones. Children played nearby, their laughter carrying on the ocean breeze. "Do you ever think about what would have happened if I hadn't asked the brothers for help?" Jake asked. "If I'd just let things continue the way they were?" "We wouldn't be here," Amanda said simply. "We'd probably be separated, divorced maybe, living separate lives, wondering what went wrong." "That terrifies me." "Me too. But it didn't happen. You fought for us. We fought for us. And we won." They sat on a large piece of driftwood, watching waves roll in and retreat, the eternal rhythm of the ocean that had witnessed their wedding 21 years earlier. "I have something for you," Jake said, pulling a small box from his jacket pocket. Amanda opened it to find a custom-made necklace, a silver pendant shaped like two motorcycles riding side by side, intertwined with an infinity symbol. "It's perfect," she breathed. "Derek's daughter made it. She's studying jewelry design." Jake fastened the necklace around Amanda's throat. "I wanted you to have something that represents us, two separate people choosing to ride together forever. I'll never take it off." They sat together until the sun began its descent toward the horizon, then rode slowly back to Portland, taking the long way, stopping frequently to admire views or simply be together. There was no rush, no destination more important than the journey itself. The months continued to pass, marked by ordinary days and small victories. Jake kept working on balance, sometimes succeeding, sometimes slipping, but always trying. Amanda continued her work at the hospital, finding fulfillment in both her patient care and her mentorship of younger nurses. Together, they built a life that honored both their individual passions and their shared commitment. The Iron Wolves remained a constant presence, brothers who checked in, who celebrated successes and offered support during struggles. The club became what it was always meant to be, not an escape from life, but an enhancement of it, a community that strengthened rather than replaced family bonds. On their actual 21st anniversary in May, Jake and Amanda did something radical, nothing spectacular. They had dinner at a small Italian restaurant, came home, and sat on their back porch talking until midnight. It was perfect in its simplicity, a celebration of the everyday love they'd fought to rebuild. "You know what I realized?" Amanda said, her head resting on Jake's shoulder. "We spent so much time looking for the big moments, the wedding, the rallies, the dramatic gestures. But the real love is in this, right here. Saturday morning coffee, Wednesday night dinners. Text during the day just to say hi. The big moments are great, but they don't sustain you. This does." "This does," Jake agreed. 2 years after the Cannon Beach anniversary ride, Jake stood in the clubhouse during a church meeting, listening to a newer member talk about struggling with work-life balance. The brother, a guy named Philip Chen, Vincent's younger cousin, looked desperate and lost, much like Jake had felt not so long ago. "I don't know how to do it all," Philip said. "My girl says I'm never home, but I've got to work to support us. How do I make her understand?" Jake spoke up. "You don't make her understand. You listen to what she's telling you. She's not complaining about the work. She's telling you she misses you. She wants to be part of your life, not just someone waiting for you to come home." "But how did you fix it? Everyone knows your story. The anniversary ride, the video, all of it. How'd you make it stick?" "By showing up every day. By making small choices that added up to big changes. By asking for help when I needed it." Jake looked around at the brothers. "And by remembering that the club exists to support our lives, not replace them. The best thing this brotherhood ever did for me was help me save my marriage, because they understood that being a good brother means being a good partner first." Tommy nodded approvingly. "That's wisdom, Brother Wrench." "Philip, listen to what Jake's saying. We'll help you figure this out, same way we helped him. That's what family does." After the meeting, Derek caught up with Jake in the parking lot. "You handled that well, becoming a mentor in your old age." "Shut up. I'm 47, not 70. "Close enough." Derek's expression turned serious. "You happy, brother? Really happy?" "Yeah," Jake said, and realized he meant it completely. "I am. Amanda and I, we're good, better than good. We're partners again, lovers, best friends. All the things we were supposed to be. That's all anyone can ask for. Well, that and a smooth-running motorcycle. Speaking of which, I need to adjust Amanda's clutch this weekend. It's been slipping slightly. Listen to you, maintaining your old lady's bike. Domestic bliss looks good on you, brother." Jake climbed on his motorcycle, the same bike he'd been riding for 15 years. It had carried him through good times and bad, through mistakes and redemption. As he fired up the engine, he thought about all the miles ahead, roads yet to be ridden, memories yet to be made, years still to be lived with the woman who'd saved him from himself. He rode home through the familiar streets of southeast Portland, the city he'd lived in his entire adult life. The evening air was warm, carrying the scent of blooming flowers and cut grass. When he pulled into his driveway, the porch light was on, that eternal beacon Amanda always kept lit. But this time, Amanda herself was sitting on the porch steps waiting for him, 2 bottles of beer sweating in the spring heat. "Thought you might want company," she said, handing him a bottle as he sat beside her. "Always." They sat together as twilight deepened into night, watching neighbors walk their dogs, listening to the distant sound of traffic and life happening all around them. 2 people who'd almost lost everything but had fought their way back. 2 people who'd learned that love wasn't just a feeling but a choice, made new every single day. "You know what I was thinking," Amanda said. "What's that?" "We should plan another trip to next year. 22nd anniversary. Make it a tradition." "I like that idea. And maybe we should start planning it now. No more last-minute scrambling. Actually organize it, take our time, enjoy the journey." "The journey, not just the destination," Jake agreed, echoing words they'd learned together over 2 years of rebuilding. "Exactly." Above them, stars began to emerge in the darkening sky. Somewhere in the neighborhood, a motorcycle started up, its engine rumbling into the distance. A sound that used to represent escape, but now meant something entirely different. It meant community. It meant brotherhood. It meant home. Jake put his arm around Amanda, and she leaned into him, fitting perfectly against his side like she always had, like she always would. The porch light glowed warmly behind them, illuminating 2 people who'd found their way back to each other and were determined never to lose that path again. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. Work would demand attention. Life would present obstacles. But they would face it all together, two riders on parallel paths that had merged into one journey. They had learned the most important lesson, that love, real love, wasn't measured in grand gestures, but in the accumulation of small moments. Ordinary days made extraordinary by the choice to show up, to be present, to keep fighting for each other no matter what. And they would keep fighting, keep choosing each other, keep riding together today, tomorrow, and for all the miles yet to come. The forever ride had only just begun.